Hi, you must be Suzanne?
Yeah, I'm Suzanne.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So I am a social worker here at the clinic, and I understand that you had an appointment with one of our doctors this morning.
Yeah, I had my regular visit.
Okay. And they sent you up to me, huh?
Yeah, they told me I really needed to come meet with you, which, I don't think so. I'm fine. I feel great.
Okay. Well, it sounds like it wasn't your first choice to be here.
No. Like
Okay.
I said, I feel great.
Sure, but I'm so glad that you're here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and I want you to know that as a social worker here, really my role is to be an advocate for you. I'm
Okay.
on your team. We're all on your team. And I'm here to provide support to you, locate resources, and really, if there's any need for additional counseling, and in this case, with medication adherence, I'm here for that as well.
Okay.
Okay? So I do have to tell you that if you say anything that presents as a harm to yourself or as a potential harm to others, then I will have to report that. But again, what you say is confidential here.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, wonderful. So why don't you tell me a little bit about why your doctor sent you here today?
I guess I haven't been that great about taking my HIV medication,
Okay.
but I feel great. I don't need it, like I said, I feel great. It's a big hassle. I have to take like 3 pills 3 times a day with food, and it just, it takes so much time, and I don't think I need it. I feel great.
Okay, so it sounds like you feel healthy,
Oh, yeah.
and they're asking you to take a lot of medication, and it seems like, from what you're saying, the cost really is outweighing the benefit.
Yeah, that's a fair statement.
Okay, sure, and that's a lot of medication. Absolutely. I know that the doctors, as you mentioned, recommended that you come meet with me, but you had made the choice to come here, and I appreciate that and I honor that. Why don't you tell me a little bit about why you decided to walk through these doors today?
I guess just in the back of my head, wondering maybe the doctors are right that the medication is good for me, and maybe I should get better about taking it.
Okay, so even though you're feeling healthy, still another part of you says, maybe this is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you this question, and I'm going to ask you at the end of our time together as well. Okay, it's something called a scaling question.
Okay.
And so I'd like to ask you on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being no motivation and 10 being very motivated. How motivated would you say you are to make this change and start following your medication regimen?
Honestly, probably about a 4.
Okay, sure. Do you mind if I take notes while we...
Of course.
Okay, wonderful, thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and write down a 4. So, Suzanne, why don't you tell me a little bit more about that? Why didn't you say a 2?
I don't know. I guess I haven't said it yet, but I'm pregnant, and so
Congratulations, Suzanne.
Yeah.
That's really exciting.
thank you.
Wow.
And so the doctors did tell me that if I don't take my medication, I'm at higher risk of passing HIV to my baby, and I don't want to do that. And I guess they've told me about what happens when you get AIDS, and that's scary, and I don't want that to happen either. And so I guess I do know there are some consequences to not taking my medication. It's just I'm not there, and I don't even know if I'm going to get there. And so I guess that's why I thought it 2. So I guess I am worried a little bit about taking care of myself and my baby.
Okay. So it sounds like you have a lot of reasons not to follow your medication regimen. And on the other hand, you're pregnant, which is so exciting, and you want to protect your baby. And it sounds like you want to protect your health as well, not only for yourself, but for your baby as well. Well, I want to honor you for that. It sounds like you're going to be an amazing mother.
Oh, thank you.
And so again, congratulations. Do you know if it's going to be a boy or a girl?
Yeah, we just found out it's going to be a little boy.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's very exciting. Okay, well, we're going to work together, okay, to make sure that your son has the best life possible.
Okay. Thank you.
And so we're going to work out from everything that you have to say what's the best decision for you to make, okay? And I want to remind you that this is your decision,
Okay.
right? As much as we can encourage you or give you advice, you know better than anyone that only you can make it happen, right?
Okay. Thank you.
So I would like to recommend that we do an activity. Are
Okay.
you comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to ask that we scoot our chairs a little bit
Okay.
closer together. And so that we can go ahead and do this worksheet, because I would like to fill it out together.
Okay.
It's called a decisional balance worksheet, because what I'm hearing is that you have good reasons not to follow your medication regimen.
I
And
think
then you
so.
have, and then you have good reasons to follow it, right? And so sometimes it's hard to weigh, as I mentioned earlier, maybe the cost versus benefit,
Yeah.
right? So why don't we start by naming this this worksheet? The top says the behavior I want to change is. What would you say the behavior you want to change is?
I guess not taking my medicine,
Okay,
my HIV medicine.
so should we say take HIV medication?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. And again, you're okay if I take
Yes.
these notes? Okay. So, first, why don't we start with the good things about continuing old behavior?
Okay.
And before we do that, I just want to explain a little bit how we're going to do this. So first, we're going to do the good things about continuing old behavior, not so good things about continuing old behavior, good things about changing behavior, and then not so good things about changing behavior.
Okay.
Sometimes it's helpful just to see our own thoughts on paper,
Right.
right? And this is just a good way of separating our different thoughts.
Okay.
Okay. So why don't we go ahead first and talk about the good things about not consistently following your HIV medication schedule.
Okay, well, it's just so much easier. I don't
Sure.
have to worry about breakfast in the morning. That's the hardest one for me. My work schedule is really busy, and I'm not a morning person, and so I like to sleep in the morning, and it's just so much easier to not have to worry about making sure you have breakfast, because that takes time, and then during the day at work, sometimes I have meetings at lunch, and I don't have to take a pill in a meeting, or if I have to work through lunch, I don't always have time to worry about taking a pill. So it's just easier to not be tied to my routine. And also, I got HIV back in high school when I from a needle. I did drugs when I was in high school, and I've
Okay.
been clean for 10 years ever since. And I worked really hard to get clean.
Oh, congratulations,
Good
Susan.
life now, thank you. My husband and I'm having a baby, and just taking my HIV medication that much, and all it does is remind me of that time. And it was a really hard time in my life, and I want to live in the present and not worry about the past. And so just, not taking it just keeps me where I am in the present. I don't have to worry about that.
Sure. It would be easier.
Yeah.
More hassle free. So you mentioned that your work schedule. Can I ask you what you do?
Sure. I'm the vice president of a marketing company.
Wow, vice president of a marketing company. That is really neat, Suzanne. So I have to pause really quickly and just say I'm recognizing a theme here. You had mentioned that you got HIV when you were in high school from drug use, and you're 10 years clean. That is amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Really, that's not something that comes easy. That comes with very hard work. And not only that, you're the vice president of marketing at a firm that's and you're about to have a baby, and you want to be a good mom to your baby boy. And so the theme that I'm seeing is that you're a motivated person. That you're not wanting to not take your medication because you aren't capable of it. You seem like an incredibly capable person. When you decide something's right for you, that you're going to do it. So let's figure out what's right for you. Okay. So you mentioned that the good things about continuing old behavior would be that it's easier, it's hassle-free. You wouldn't have to make breakfast in the morning and get up early, and you don't like the mornings. Okay. And the one thing that you did say that I think is really important that I want to touch on, a good thing about not continuing this old behavior is you wouldn't have to go back to your high school years.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's a big deal for you, I can tell. Okay. So why don't we move on to the not so good things about continuing the old behaviors?
Oh, I guess I could get sick. I know the
Sure.
doctors have told me, and I understand that's when it could go to full-blown AIDS. I could get really sick. I could pass it on to my baby if I stop taking my medicine. I could pass it on to my husband, and I don't want to do that. And I guess if I do get really sick, I won't be able to care for my baby in the future. And I want to see him, graduate and go to kindergarten and get married and all this. I want to be sick for his whole life, and so I think, if I don't take my medicine, I know that it's a lot more risk that I'll get really sick.
Okay, so you want to be around for your kid's life.
Yeah.
Okay. And you want to be there for your husband as well. you don't want to run the risk of getting really sick. And it sounds like you know HIV and AIDS as well as I do. I'm sure you know that HIV turns into AIDS, and that this medication is your chance to prevent that. So I see that it's not a lack of education either. You know what you're doing. All right. Okay. So why don't we look now at the good things about changing your behavior? So the good things about starting to follow your medication regimen.
I will be around for my son's life. I won't get sick. Maybe I'll just continue to feel really good. Feel really healthy.
Okay. So I'm seeing that your son is coming up quite a bit. Sounds like he's a big motivator for you.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. And you want to be around for him. You want to stay healthy. And it sounds like the motivating things that you've mentioned are more long-term things. And so maybe it's harder to grasp in the present, but it seems like you still have a vision for what happens down the line if you don't take your medication. Okay, wonderful. So lastly here, what is a not so good thing about changing your behavior?
I feel like I will be tied to a routine and tied to a structure. I don't like that. That doesn't fit my lifestyle. That doesn't fit my job. Like, I'll always have to make sure I can eat and can't forget my pills, and I'll have to take them at work, and then, I'll have to kind of deal with some old demons from my past that I just have not wanted to deal with.
Sure. Okay. And you have good reasons. I want to say that, Suzanne. You have good reasons on both sides. And so why don't we just dissect this a little bit? Let's look at this worksheet together with the answers that you came up with. And why don't we talk about section number 2 and section number 4? Okay? Because the good things about changing your old behavior, about continuing old behavior, and the not so good things about changing behavior we have in the back of our minds. But let's just really get a sense for how important the good things are for changing the behavior are, and then not so good things about continuing the old behavior. Okay? And then we'll see if that is something that will cause you to want to make a change, and if not, let's reassess. Okay? So you said the good things about changing behavior was really, I heard mostly your son. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's a huge motivating factor.
Yeah.
Okay. And even on the side of the not so good things about continuing old behavior, I heard your son again.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. And your husband, and you wanting to live a long life. Okay. Wonderful. So, Suzanne, I have to say, and I've said this before, you seem like a very motivated woman, very intelligent and educated. And so, just listening to you, I've been hearing mostly that the reason why you don't want to adhere to this medication regime is because it's a hassle. Yeah. It's not easy to take medication 3 times a day with a meal, especially when you don't like the mornings and you're the vice president of a company and you come home to your husband, you probably just want to, do your routine. So I'm just thinking here, and as someone who is knowledgeable on the different drugs that our patients can take here, the 3 pills 3 times a day doesn't actually have to be the case.
Oh, really?
There are other options.
Oh, that would be great.
And the doctors are more educated on this than I am, but it's something that I would love for us to have a meeting over. Okay, because now there are actually new drugs which combine multiple drugs into a single pill.
Oh,
I know that sounds like a magic pill, but it is real, because you're not the only one who experiences this and doesn't want to take their medication 3 times a day, right? So I would like to talk to the doctor about you just doing 1 pill a day, and actually there are some which you don't even need to eat with food either.
Oh, that would be so much easier.
Sure, and I know that the other concern was that it reminds you of your teenage years, right? Mm-hmm. And I know that this still doesn't wipe it away, and I wish that we could, offer that, but at least it's 1 time a day. It's not 3 times a day. Maybe you do it in the morning or at night. You could talk to your doctor about that, and it can be, out of sight, out of mind, but you just take that once a day. That way, if you decide that's right for you, you can take care of your health, be there for your little baby boy, and be there for your husband as well. I believe that those were your main reasons.
That's
So what do you think about that?
yeah, that sounds good. Especially if it was just one pill a day, I could, be a lot easier.
Sure, absolutely.
I think I would, be a lot more likely to stick to it that way.
Okay. Well, why don't we go ahead and I will schedule a meeting with the doctor, and we'll discuss different drugs and different schedules for that.
Okay.
And then if there's any issues down the line, maybe even that's it's hard to follow for any one reason or another, then let's meet again.
Okay.
Okay? Because I'm here for you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, wonderful, Suzanne. Well, it was great meeting with you today.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate your help.
Sure, and I'll call you and let you know after I talk to the doctor some good times I'll suggest a few, and then you tell me which one works best.
Okay, sounds great.
Okay, wonderful.